Well, let's talk about the new venture, Three Cherries label.
Yeah, I think they're a very new company, and I guess they just wanted let's say a token
No.
class act.
All right.
I'm just joking.
Of course.
Just joking.
What did it take to get you to come out and say, okay, I'm ready. I'll do this album.
My daughter, my friend Kitty D'Alessio, my manager, the musicians that I work with all the time, and people in the street who say, when are you going to do something else? See, when they're working and they don't see you working, they just want to make you work. So that's what did it. Them saying, why don't you, you know how to sing still, why don't you make a record? And that's why I did it. They kept after me.
And
besides, I was curious to see whether I could still sing.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's no doubt about that now.
5 years, you know.
Now you had Sammy Davis. You did a
Sammy
Davis.
and Joe Williams, two of my favorite men.
Was this a first?
And I wanted Billy Eckstine, but he was out of the country, because that's another one of my favorite men. So maybe next time. I think Bill is so wonderful, and Sammy has been a great singer for a long time, and people forget because he's so has a lot of charisma, and he does a lot of things, you know. But facing everything, he is a great singer, and people don't always think about that. And I think of him as a great singer. And Joe, of course, just makes you want to sit in Birdland, it used to be, and listen to Basie and Joe all night long.
So it had to be a lot of fun for you to get together and do this.
With the musicians, yeah.
It's I guess it's a day now of videotapes, and when people go out and perform.
Oh yes, I suppose so.
Why do you do a videotape?
Well, I don't know.
Just
I doubt
two of you
whether
singing
I could,
there or something. Do you ever think of that?
Well, I hadn't thought of it, but I'll ask Sam or Joe when I see them.
Now, your career, you started out as a dancer in the good old days.
Good old bad old days.
Good old bad old days. You started out as a dancer. When did your career change to become a actress and a singer?
In the 40s,
what was the inspiration for that? What happened?
Well, none at all. Actually, I just knew that I had to be good. I started out working with the best we had in black talent, and I learned from everyone that I worked with. But I didn't concentrate on the career at all until I had to get a job again in 1940s, and I met Paul Robeson at Cafe Society in 1940, and he had known my people. And he began to talk to me about a lot of things that were a lot of things that were a part of my history and my background. And I was really interested in that. Meanwhile, I had gotten this offer to go to work in Hollywood, and Walter White, who was then president of the NAACP, and Count Basie made me do it. They said, we've never had anybody like you in the movies, either Tarzan's people or maids and so forth. Not that I minded acting a maid, but that's all they've seen. We want you to go out there and be representative of another type. You know how in those old days, we were inclined to be typed, and we're really a rainbow, you know, we're all sorts of colors and all sorts of looks. And so when I went to Hollywood, my father went to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer with me and told Mr. Louis B. Mayer that he didn't want to see his daughter be a native in the jungle or be somebody's maid, because he could afford to hire me a maid of my own. And my father was fabulous, and I don't think Louis B. Mayer had been approached that way ever by a black man. So they decided they were going to put me in the movies. And then they didn't know what to do with me because they couldn't match me up with anybody. It was very silly, and times have changed. They changed when Sidney Poitier came along. We had a long wait between then and then. And then they changed again when black exploitation movies came in, and they changed. TV has changed a lot. TV, I think, grew up faster than the film media. And I'm very interested in what they're going to do with us.
Well, you, was it Stormy Weather and Cabin in the Sky? Cabin in the Sky
yeah.
was.
They
was
still
first.
show. I love
yes,
Cabin.
It's still
they
being
still
shown.
show Stormy Weather.
And both of them. Again, going back, because sometimes they say people must know from whence they came in order to know where they're going.
Oh, yes.
So we have to go back a little bit in history. And at that time, it was a matter of complexion had something to do with it also.
Yes.
Would you say that at that time, your complexion, was an advantage or?
I think it was an advantage because I was unique at the time. They had a wonderful girl out there, Dorothy Dandridge, who was brilliant, beautiful, and a great actress. She hadn't been at MGM, but they had not really used her to her full extent. And they never did, actually, except in Carmen Jones, finally. And it was a tragedy. I think because I didn't have the same urge to be an actress is what made me think about other things, politically and socially. And when I found that they had nothing for me to do, the only reason they had hired me, I was light enough to be called, well, she's different, and yet not dark enough to be with Tarzan, you see. So it was a kind of unique place to be. But what they did was just isolate me in every scene and let me sing a song. I never became a part of the plot, except in the 2 black pictures I made. We thought when Stormy Weather and Cabin were made that there would be a great surge of black movies, but there wasn't. But I think that, in fact, they said, well, be Spanish. And I said, no. And but the uniqueness of the color is what helped me at that time. But they gave me the name. And when I went abroad, I was known for Stormy Weather. And the career was made easier because I had the name.